Hey everybody, welcome to Options with Hans. I am Hans Albrecht. I was a pro options market maker for 15 years. For 15 years, I did not get paid unless I made a profit. That is how you learn the game of options, and that is how you actually learn to make money and respect every single dollar. Prognosticators, talking heads, CNBC folks, that stuff doesn't matter. You do this and you make money, and that is your proof that you're doing it correctly. So jump on board, grab my free ebooks down below. And if you do today, until tonight, I'm going to give you my 3-day options course. It's a really, really great way to get exposed to some of the programs I'm doing. Nothing too complicated. We've got Leaps Trader, we've got Crypto Income Trader, some amazing things. We're going to talk a little bit about one thing today. And of course, before that, everything is for educational and informational purposes only. We are here to learn fantastic things. So if you're okay with that, move on. If not, please don't watch anymore. So we talked about this a few months ago. I talked about Hood, about how I absolutely love this name. They are in all the right places. Listen, you've got to think like a forward-thinking millennial. Millennials, younger people are jumping on board these kinds of platforms. Hood, SoFi is also very kind of chic, yum, accessible to the younger population. And this population is going to be inheriting some of the most money we have ever seen anyone inherit ever. They're going to have trillions and trillions of dollars. They're going to want to invest it. They're going to want to trade with it. They're going to want to buy cryptocurrencies with it. They're going to want to do amazing things with it. They're going to buy collectibles and artwork and all kinds of stuff. But this is going to benefit certain kinds of companies, and Hood is precisely the kind of company that is going to do that. They are absolutely doing all the things they need to be doing, touching upon all these younger demographic touch points that are important, like crypto, like the betting markets, which they've been involved in. So every time you turn around, Hood is doing something else that is appealing to that generation. That generation does not want to use their dad's stockbroker in his 3-piece suit and his fancy mahogany desk. They want the absolute newest thing, and they want everything to be digital. They want it to be very easily accessible from their phone, etc. They want the new way of doing things, and so that is really, really exciting. They are the Amazon Prime of finance. When I put out this video, I think it was about $50, $117 right now. And I'm going to show you a little bit of performance here. Really, really cool. We've been doing income trades on this thing. We've been trading options the correct way. I see too many people these days not understanding the texture of this market, not understanding option pricing, not understanding skew, and really giving away a massive, massive amount of upside. I see people bragging about making 50 grand or 100 grand when they could have made 250 grand because they gave away so much upside. That is not a win. When you make 50 grand, you could have made 100 grand. That is not as good a win as you deserve to have. So you need to understand how to do these things. These guys are amazing, and this is one of the names in my portfolio is up about 40% this year versus, I don't know what the S&P is, maybe 8 or 9%. I'm going to do another video on the actual portfolio and all the areas and secular trend related names that we're in. And it doesn't even have a bunch of the really serious AI names that we've done really well in our trading account, in our community, in Leaps Trader, Leaps Explosion. We've been doing trades on Palantir, things like that. That is not in my main portfolio. That is in an area of speculation that is for a certain part of your portfolio. That is very different. And so this is exciting stuff with Hood, massive user base. They just keep bringing on more and more and more people. Some of this data is going to be stale at this point, but average revenue per user is absolutely massive and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So that's what's really exciting about this thing. And I'm going to show you some of the performance here. Here we go. I've taken out some of the trades from Hood. Of course, we have a lot of other amazing trades, the Soxels and things like that. So, but in Hood, so we can see the different ones here. We closed 3 of them, 258% on these ones, 294, 37%, a meager little 37%. What are you going to do with that one? And this is the one we have open. We've been sort of layering income trades on this one. Now, notice I did not sell. Every time somebody asks me, especially in the community or my program, my mentoring program, somebody says, should I sell some calls right away against these Leaps or these longer term brainstorm calls. It's like, no, 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 no. You're getting into things that you want exposure to. You like them. Everyone's so gung-ho about creating this layer of income when they haven't taken my volatility ninja yet. And I said, listen, this doesn't make sense most of the time. I know there's this allure of all this free money that you're going to make. It's not free money. It's not free money. Let's establish that. This is not free money when you give away a ton of upside. So you've got to think about this very thoughtfully, and you have to be very, very strategic in how you use these things. So when I get into these things, I do not do income layers right away. I wait for the right moment. I wait for edge. Edge can come from option pricing. It can come from technicals. It can come from a story. It can come from fundamentals. Maybe the thing's just getting a little bit overvalued. It can come from broader market starting to peter out. It can come from VIX levels. It can come from vol rank, IV percentile. It can come all these things that you kind of put together to formulate your opinion of what's going on. So Robinhood is a name that just was ready to blast off. And here we go, up to 258, 294, 278. Now let's add some other income layers to that. We did in July, we sold some August 105s, we got above 100, and that's when things started to look a little bit more interesting. So let's take a look at, I know tons of people, even students who were like, I'm selling calls, I'm getting killed in these calls, Hans, you got to help me out here. We got this the highs in July. We got some nice high vol in here, so we started to hammer those out there. Bought those back at 360, 1095, bought back at 360. So we collected a nice 730-ish around there, 735. August, again, we had some nice vol kind of popping up here in August. Not crazy high, but you have to understand the overall VIX level, right? Remember that volatility works in a sort of absolute way, but also a relative way, right? So on a sort of absolute basis, volatility can be high, low, in between. But on a relative basis, remember, it's all related to underlying risk. There are people out there who I've seen on Twitter say, the higher the vol, the higher option pricing is, the more you should be hammering it out. That's completely nuts. Are you crazy doing that? That's like selling, if you're selling vol into an oncoming storm, you're selling house insurance into an oncoming storm, it's coming right at you, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to sell some more house insurance. You don't want to do that. You want to have a sense of where things are going. This is the problem with knowing enough to be dangerous out there. And everyone's an options expert these days. So you got to be a little bit careful. So we saw some of these opportunities, hammered those out. So we grabbed about 1070 in income as this thing just basically kind of floundered around. And so if you add that to the 278%, you get 307% on the original investment. And then today I sold out some Novembers. I said, look, this is going to probably be a little bit toppy. We've been waiting for this news. They put it in the index. I love the stock. I think it's going to $300 eventually, but that's going to take a little bit of time. So I think there's going to be maybe a little bit of it was strong today, but I think it's going to be a little bit of a denouement here. Unless we really start to get this overall market melt up, this continuation of the AI market melt up that I've been calling for the last 900 points on every single show, every newsletter. So make sure you watch my stuff. Make sure you read my stuff. Make sure you get on the list for the ebooks down there. Then you get into my newsletter, and I'm going to tell you about this stuff on a regular basis. Now you add that $11.40 and another $3 of a call away return, and you get another $14. That's 373% return on the original investment plus the income sleeve. That is how you trade income. Am I guaranteeing you can do this every single time? No, but with the right approach, you can add insight to what you're doing and add actual value as opposed to just kind of selling calls whenever willy-nilly when it doesn't really make sense. So that's what we're all about in the program. So 373% on top of 258, 294, 37. We're having a ton of fun in some of these names. Of course, we've got a couple of positions that have not gone right. You cannot be right all the time. That's a part of trading as well. But we've been incredibly I think my portfolio is up about 122% this year. The only stock only portfolio is up about 40%. So give you an idea of where we are, how we're playing things. We've got pizza in there. We've got, Domino's pizza. We've got regular things, but there is a lot of tech, a lot of those things that I think are really changing the world. And really, frankly, not very expensive. We put out a video on the weekend. I hope you watched that one on Amazon. Put out a video talking about how it's cheaper than Walmart. I mean, this is a no-brainer to me on a relative basis. Anything can happen in markets, but this is a stock that's everywhere you want to be. And again, after the close tonight, we've got a Nebius position. I put out an alert in one of my services. Nebius position. We bought some leaps today. Those are going to be up 180%. That is one of the stocks that I've really loved. So I'm going to put out another video on that. Perhaps tonight, maybe tomorrow, just just talking about how since I recommended Nebius as a preferred name as compared to CoreWeave, it's up 100+%. And CoreWeave is down 33%. So that is how you do. You got to be in the right places. There's no guarantee, of course. We are all making educated guesses. But with the right approach, especially in options, you're going to do a little bit better. So make sure to watch. You don't have to buy anything of mine. Make sure to watch my videos. Make sure to tune in for something a little bit different, something different from sell puts on a red day. If that's what you're going by, then you're probably missing out on a few important things in this business. So we'll see you guys in the next video. I hope you have a great night and take care.